welcome back to another video here today at the Startup Brain TV, the platform to help you boss up and create more work for yourself. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I private label my own products. Now, this is something I used to do initially when I just started Fashby. It's a great way to save yourself some extra coins, okay? But because I'm getting more sales now, I actually have a tailor that sticks all my clothing label tags onto my clothing at the moment. So I don't do this manually anymore. So if you're someone out there just getting started and you're looking for a way to save you some money with private labeling your own clothes or your own inventory, then this video is for you. I'm going to be showing you step by step in more detail how to get started private labeling your own clothing, okay? You can actually do this at home. You don't have to pay anything extra for that service, okay? So if you're interested in finding out more, do stay tuned and watch this video till the end. Now, there's clothing vendors out there that offer a private labeling service as well. So you can always check out from your wholesale vendors if they do offer a private labeling service. They will obviously charge you extra for that service, but I know there's quite a few vendors that do offer that service. So again, be sure to check it out. You may just be lucky that your vendor actually offers this service, and that will essentially save you some time. In order to get started private labeling, of course, you're going to need your clothing label tags, okay? So I usually get mine done at a company called Woven Labels. They're actually UK based, but I believe they ship internationally. I'll double check that information and let you guys know. Or you can look into platforms like Etsy. Just go onto etsy.com and type in clothing labels, and you will find a lot of sellers out there on Etsy offering a clothing label service, okay? So what you want to do is get your clothing labels printed with either the text of your business name. So my business name is Fashby, for example. So my clothing label tags are pretty much the text of my brand. Some people tend to use their logos on their clothing labels. So if that's you can also look into getting your logos stamped onto it, but I usually prefer text. I mean, text just works best on clothing labels, but it's really up to you how you choose to go about doing so. Of course, if you want to get a logo done, you will need to go ahead and design a logo first of all prior to getting your clothing labels done, okay? So the first step is getting your clothing labels ready, and then once you have your clothing labels ready, it's time for you to go on and stick them to your clothing when they arrive from your wholesaler. And I'll be showing you in more detail step by step how I used to do this in the past. But if you're just getting started, this is a great way to build your brand reputation, okay? Private labeling is really, there's something luxury about private labeling your own clothing with your own brand information, because your customers can easily remember who you are. People lose flyers, people lose business cards. You know, how many times have you received products in the mail with flyers and business cards and you've just chucked them in the bin? When you have clothing labels actually stuck on the products themselves, it's easier for your customers to always remember who you are as a brand, okay? It's difficult for a customer to take a scissors and cut off the clothing labels of your clothing. So private labeling your clothing is a great way to build that brand retention, okay? So let's get right into today's video. Okay, to get started, of course, you're going to need your clothing labels. You can get clothing labels from platforms like Etsy.com. I use Woven Labels because here in the UK is probably the best platform to order clothing labels. You're going to need some thread as well. You're going to need a needle. I'm using a curvy needle. Don't ask me why. That was the only one I could find at the time. And of course, you need to have your merchandise ready to sew on those clothing labels onto it. Now, I'm not a professional at this because what I normally do is I've actually got a tailor that does this for me. I send them out to them in bulk, and they basically use a sewing machine to do it for me. But if you want to do this at home, you can actually do it yourself. I used to do this before at home when I wasn't getting too many sales, because I could go in there and just do it for every individual item before I shipped it out to my customer. But what I do now is I take it out to a tailor in my area who then does it for me pretty faster, okay? I just take all my products to them, take my clothing labels, and they sew it on, and I pay them some money, and it works pretty well. So you can check with tailors in your area as well to save you the stress, or you can get yourself a sewing machine and do it yourself, okay? Save yourself the hassle, save yourself the stress. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stick that product, that label onto the clothing. So I'm going to start by obviously cutting it out. Now, I do apologize in advance. It's probably not going to be as neat and perfect as, you know, it normally is if you do it in the sewing machine. But again, this is a great way to save you some money initially if you're just getting started, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and, of course, fold the ends of that clothing label as you can see in the video. And then once I'm done folding it, I'm just going to place it onto the actual dress or item. And then thread my needle and start sewing. It's pretty simple to sew the product. And if you want to find out more information on how you can sew this in more detail, I'll link a video below this video. Yeah, where you can actually see in more detail how to sew clothing labels onto garments and things like that. That's pretty much where I learned how to do it myself. As you can see, this is what it currently looks like. It's not perfect because, it's done by hand, but it still does the job at the same time. I usually take this to a tailor to do it for me, as I mentioned before. So you can check out as well with any tailors around your area to save you some coins, okay? Now, I hope you guys found this video useful in private labeling your own clothing from home. Of course, this is time consuming, but it's a great way to get you started initially. And then as your business grows, you can then move on to paying people to do that for you as well.